So today we are going to look at student money savers, so discounts and some hints and tips, to be honest, around how you can use your money wisely, whether you are a student on campus or distance learning. Basically, if you've got a student card, or even just an le.ac.uk account, like email account, a lot of these things you can use. So we're going to cover quite a lot in this. Some of it will go through relatively quickly, but there's a lot of links and things like that you can look at, a lot of websites you can go and browse afterwards and get some good ideas. So we'll be going through things like totem cards, discount websites, travel, all sorts of things like that. A bit of entertainment as well, supermarkets, bank accounts, things at home, and what the support we've got at the university too. So it's like it is a lot. Right, so first things first, there's quite a lot of text on here, but essentially, if you've got a student ID card, wave it around wherever you go and just say, have we got do student discount? I think that is the biggest tip that anyone can give you, because that can get you a long way. Basically, there's a lot of places that will just say, yes, we do student discount, and because you've got that card, they'll be able to sort of basically go, yeah, okay, we'll put that on for you. Do you do that a lot, Charlie?
Yes, so when I was in my first week here at Leicester, I know one of my ambassador colleagues told me always carry around your student ID card, and that's a bit of advice which I've always taken, and it's true. Always carry it around because you never know when you might be popping into a shop or whatever, and yeah, always ask if they offer student discount because most of the time they will offer something, so you don't want to miss out on those offers.
Yeah, the worst they can say is no, we don't do student discount, and
Yes.
it doesn't make any difference. But you could have that lucky point where you're like, oh, excellent, I didn't realize I'd get discount. That's great. Another tip on here as well is just to scroll to the bottom of web pages if you're buying things and just check if they have discounts as signing up for newsletters, and then you can always unsubscribe later on. So you might get spammed with a few things, but you might get just that little bit of sort of extra help, because they might have a discount code on that first newsletter you get. I will say as well, it doesn't matter what kind of student you are either. So undergraduate, postgraduate, distance learning, does not matter. Even if you're part-time, basically student discount or student card is a student card and you will get the discount. So you don't think, even if you're like, oh, well, I am working full-time because I'm doing it by distance learning, still counts. I've done many courses, as if you heard the conversation with Hina previously, I'm a bit of a collector of courses, so I do sign up for things quite a lot. And I get looked at when you wave your student card and people are like, but don't you work at the university as well? And it's like, yeah, but I can still be a student. So don't take no for an answer, basically. So there is also the Totem card. Now, Totem is a student discount card and an app. Used to be years and years ago, your NUS card, if anyone's sort of familiar with that, but basically it's called Totem now. You can join for free, or you can join for Totem Plus, which gets you more discount for a year. And I think you can do a 3-year one as well, which works out a bit cheaper. So you can sign up for this online and it gives you lots and lots of discounts and things like that. And the trick is as well is to sign up for a 3-year deal just before you graduate, so that you've got your next 3 years, because it doesn't just stop as soon as you stop being a student. So signing up to Totem is really, really key. I didn't bother with this one personally, but that's because when I looked at the deals, it wasn't the kind of thing that I would get. But I know that there's lots and lots of stuff on there that is really useful, and it does give you a government approved ID if you do need that as well. Have you got a Totem card, Charlie?
No, I don't have the paid Totem Plus card, but what I tend to do is I obviously as a student am part of many of these student discount places, and so I always look around because different platforms offer you different discounts. So it's always really useful to take the time off to really see what the different places have to offer. And sometimes you might notice that on some websites, the student discount they offer is better than any on these student discount platforms. So it's really useful to do your research and see what's actually available.
Yeah, like I said, if you're going to pay for something to get a discount, you want to make sure that you're going to make more than your discount back, aren't you?
Mm.
Yeah, it's that kind of
Yes.
thing. Yeah. So I think these are now more common than using Totem. So Uni Days, which is an online, well, it's a website, and I think it's got an app attached to it as well, gives you codes for online shopping, and Student Beans. So there's quite a lot of different offers you can get on those two. I think on the next slide we have got, yeah, some of the things that you can do. So they are free to join. You can download them on an app, and basically, because it's hard to waive a student card at a website. So, how does that work now? Basically, this is where you can get your codes, and it links through to the different websites so that you can get all the discounts on. I mean, everything that we've got on the screen are current ones on there at the moment. But quite often, Uni Days advertise different things, and so does Beans, and you can find all sorts on there. So everything, and you can see on here, you've got booking.com, so travel holidays, Samsung and PC World, so electrical equipment, and just generally sort of clothing, food, and all sorts of things like that. So if you want to treat yourself, you can get your discount on Domino's Pizza as well. Um, Brilliantly, Hina is putting all the links up into the chat, so you've got a full list there as we go. Again, do you use any of these ones, Charlie?
Yes, so I use Uni Days quite regularly actually, and there's so much on there, so there's something for everyone I find, and I've personally found their discounts for Samsung are always particularly useful, especially around the Black Friday time. So that's another good tip actually. If you're wanting to maximize the discount, Black Friday is sometimes some of the best times, and many places offer student discount on top of Black Friday discount as well. So if there's something particularly big you want, it's only a few months away, so maybe you can wait just that little bit longer. It would probably be worth it.
That's a really good tip actually. Yeah, because a lot of time if you get a discount, it's like, oh, it doesn't apply with
Mm.
sale amounts and things like that. But if it stacks, you definitely want to take advantage of that. We've got travel discounts as well. So you can get travel discounts using your Totem card or Uni Days, and Student Beans and things like that. But you can go directly to sort of the train line and get train tickets, get a rail card for if you travel by train. I was going to say, it might not be worth it if you're not planning on traveling by train. But essentially, you can get a discounted student rail card, and to be fair, I didn't check the amount. So it used to be £70 last year. So hopefully it still is £70. But it is a third off your journey prices. And if you do travel by train, you know how much they are at the moment. And this does cover all students. So if you are outside of the 16 to 25 age bracket, as long as you're a full-time student, you can get a rail card. It has to be stamped at the university. That you can do that at the information hub, but the application can be stamped and it can be taken down, and you can get a rail card as well. It still is. Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Hina. So it is still £30 for the year or £70 for 3 years, if you need that. I remember mine was invaluable. My first degree wasn't at Leicester, it was in Aberystwyth, but I live in Leicester, so I needed that rail card to travel all across the country, if I wanted to go anywhere, because Aberystwyth is at the end of a train line. So it really, really helped with that one. And that, again, there's a couple of really, really good websites here. So you've got basically split ticketing, because sometimes it is cheaper to have a look at your journey, see where you might change, and get cheaper journeys. One of the ones I would say at the moment as well, if you're coming to Leicester and you want to travel to London, is travel via Nuneaton. The travel to London is very, very convenient from Leicester, because it's very quick straight down there, but it's a bit expensive. But if you go via Nuneaton and then down to London Euston, you can get it a lot cheaper. So that's my little tip.
Mm.
See Charlie going, oh yeah, I should try that one. Yeah, it's a longer journey, so you're going to be traveling, but if you've got the time, you can save a bit of money. So yeah, split ticketing and split my fare is really useful, and sometimes going a little bit out of the way can really help. I can see that Charlie's going to be using that later. Do you go to London often, Charlie?
No, I don't go to London often, but with the train station only 20 minutes away, it's really convenient to get pretty much anywhere in the country. So even if it's just a weekend out or a weekend away, that's something which is really useful to make use of as a time here at Leicester, I've found.
Yeah, it is good. Go and see some things. Don't feel confined. And you can do it by saving a bit of money as well. There's a lot of travel discounts, to be honest. So bus passes for the local buses. So we have three different bus companies in Leicester: Arriva, First Bus, and Centre Bus. We've not put Centre Bus on here actually, but they have very restricted loops. I think if you're local, then you'll be more familiar with them. The main routes are all Arriva and First Bus. And if you are going to be sort of staying, if you live locally, or you're going to be staying not in our halls, but somewhere else, and you might want a bus pass, and you can get student discount on your bus passes as well. And then obviously National Express, we've got Flixbus and Megabus. I was just thinking, oh no, there's another big sort of discounted bus company somewhere. They have got, they do cheap prices, and they do student discounts and all sorts. In fact, you can actually get to London on a bus, on a coach from Leicester for about £6.60 if you pick the right time of day and the right day of the week. So for under £20, you can go to London and back, and it takes you to London Victoria, so it's pretty good. And there is a good blog on Student Universe about travelling and travelling as a student. So that's a really good one on there. To be honest, I usually, if I have to go to London, I'll take a coach instead of a train. Again, a little bit longer, but it saves you quite a lot of money. Okay, so tech. I think it sounds like, Charlie, you might have done a bit more sort of tech buying recently than I have. But we've mentioned it, a lot of the big brands do student discounts or educational discounts. So I mentioned the email address, Ellie or Leicester at ac.uk. ac.uk. If you've got an ac.uk email address, quite often you can get discounts without having any other information on that. So locally we have Currys, who will have money off on PCs and laptops. Your phone company might do special discounts for you as a student. And yeah, and don't forget, so there is a sort of back market, which is, I think it's a website. I've never used it myself, but you can get refurbished equipment, which might be a really good deal. So it'll be a lot cheaper if that's what you need on that. And again, it might be that you need to sign up with Unidays, but that's free. So there'll be quite a lot on there. And that tip about Black Friday, I think Hina's put it in, it's 29th of November this year. So, if you can hold out that little bit just before Christmas, then, you might actually know better what you want by that point as well. So as you're sort of just starting, you might think, oh yeah, well, I need a laptop, I need an iPad. And then by that point, you're like, well, actually, I could do with the other thing or something else. So it might be good to sort of not rush into buying something and get something a little bit later. What do you think, Charlie?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point actually, because I know when I started my degree, I didn't really know what to expect. But then after those first few months, come Black Friday, I actually knew what devices I could actually get, which would actually support me further. And it was information I didn't have when I started. So I think that is a really good point actually. It will give you a chance to see how you can best work and what you need to really succeed at your degree. So yeah, another excellent point.
Yeah, because I think you feel like you've got to arrive with everything, and it's like,
Mm.
well, actually, you don't. You can probably manage, and we've got loads of computers on campus, and things like that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so same with things like TV and entertainment. It's not all just about studying and getting the most out of your studies and getting places, but there is a lot that you can get on student discount. So if you're happy using Amazon, you can get, basically you don't pay half as much for your Amazon account, and that includes if you have one already. So if you've already signed up for Amazon and you think, oh, I'm paying 70 something pounds a year or £10 a month, then basically go to them and say, I'm a student now, and that should reduce down for you. And I think you get like 6 months of Amazon Prime TV for free, so you could time that right. Oh, Maria's put Spotify too. Yeah, and Spotify. Yeah, free Spotify is good. And basically, then you could time it if you think, oh, actually, that TV show is coming out that I really want to watch. Make sure you've got got it over that time. So make sure that's in there. You use cinemas, obviously student ID will get you in there, but you can, if you're pre-booking, uni days and totem. And then locally, so we've got quite a lot of things you can do locally, and they will have student discount if you've got to pay to get in as well. So Treetops Adventure Golf, you can basically get a discount and you tend to get like a free drink while you're there, which is quite nice. They've got 2 rounds of 16 holes. Got the numbers right? Yep, 16 holes. So if you do both of those, you can basically might get that free drink. And if you get a hole in one at the end, they give you a free game. I've actually got 2 free games waiting for me when I go back. I do love a bit of adventure golf. And yeah, like I said, there's a lot of places that if they do charge to get in, they will most likely have student discounts. So we have got a zoo, which is quite local, and there's usually buses that can take you out there. But I say museums that charge. We've got some great free museums, but there's also a couple that charge, and that you'll be able to get in at a discount there. Anything you want to add to that one, Charlie? Any places that you love going that I've missed off?
Well, a few things really. And firstly, I'm not really a big TV person. I'd much rather sit down with a book. So Waterstones also offer a
Mm.
student discount card. So if you like reading like me, that's a really useful one. Cinema, as mentioned, again, very, very useful. But also if you like some more live entertainment, both the Montfort Hall and the Curve Theatre in the city centre, they offer some great student discounts for a wide range of different performances on. So there's something for everyone, and so it's always worth checking their websites as well.
That is a good shout. We've got some smaller theatres in Leicester too, haven't we? And I think they do student discount. So yeah, look out for those. Oh, here we go. In fact, some of those smaller ones on there too. So we've got a smaller cinema, the Phoenix Cinema. They do £5 tickets for students. They tend to have more avant-garde films or retro films and things like that on, but they also do lots of sort of activities and things down there. And we have the Leicester Comedy Festival. So if you like to have a laugh, literally have a laugh, it's during February, sort of March, yeah, February time, and they'll have student offers on there too. I always like to have a look. They put out a catalogue, and it is a massive, big, thick catalogue. So look out for that when you get here. And I go through and basically highlight all the shows I want to go to. So some of the smaller shows are free as well. So if you want a sort of a very cheap night out, something a bit different, you can go and see some comedy. We've got our very own Attenborough Arts Centre that I think I mentioned yesterday. And there's usually shows, activities and things like that. And they also do the discounts too. So there's a lot of things that just happen in Leicester that you can go along to. And a lot of our festivals in Leicester are free, so you can just wander in and go and enjoy yourself. Right, let's move on to sort of the food side of things. We've got the entertainment sorted. We've got our tech sorted. The day-to-day food. Now we know that there's a cost of living crisis. Food is now much more expensive than it was before. My biggest tip is own brand. You may have heard this from so many people. Own brand is quite often the branded stuff, but with an own brand label on it. Cornflakes, for example, they're exactly the same. Some things are not. Ketchup, for example, are not the same, but go and try some of the own brands if you don't already, because some of them are actually really good. But supermarkets do tend to have loyalty schemes and savings and things like that. So close to the university, we've got Morrison's. They have an app, and on their more card, the more you spend, you get basically points, and then you get money off your shopping. But it also works a little bit like Tesco's, and it has some discounts on some of the stuff you buy the most. So the more you spend in there, sort of on a regular basis, the more it knows what you're going to buy, and then it starts to offer you money off on those, which is quite handy. I'm a big fan, to be honest. And then obviously Tesco's have club card and offers on uni days, and obviously there are other supermarkets too. I think Asda is the closest to supermarket to the village. Well, I have no idea what Asda's offers are, but there's all sorts out there. So sign up. It feels like you've got to do a lot of signing up, but sign up and find out what kind of offers they have and what there is out there. Have you got tips on supermarkets and food shopping? Actually, I've
Um,
got another slide on that as well, but I'll see what you say.
yeah, one of the things I would say is if you don't mind a bit of a longer walk or a bus journey, Aldi or Lidl are good, especially if you want to batch and buy the things you need because they are slightly cheaper, even if they are slightly further away. So sometimes it is worth the slightly longer trip to those cheaper places.
Yeah, they're not a million miles out. They're a bus ride, aren't they? So
Yes.
yeah. Um, Here we go. The other tips. I was just wondering where you were going to go. Just like, oh, is it going to be on the next slide? So the Too Good to Go app. So food that may go to waste, you can basically get food from supermarkets at the end of the day. You might have to go and collect it, but you can get some really good discounts on there. It might be a little bit hit and miss. It might be like, oh, I had no idea on things like this, but it's a bit like getting a veg box and then you suddenly find yourself trying new things by accident because it's in that bag. Um, the discount selection section at the supermarket. So um, if that way inclined, and it's not for I say it's not for everyone because sometimes it feels like a bit of a battle when as soon as you see someone bringing those yellow stickers out, you see the crowd because people are all looking at it. But yeah, don't discount anything or don't sort of say discount. See, they're discounting it, but don't sort of rule out anything that has got a yellow sticker on it or has been discounted. Um, because it might be that you can throw it into the freezer and that's all good, or it might be that, again, you've got something nice for that day, which you wouldn't have normally had, but you can save yourself quite a bit on that. Another big tip, this is something that I do on a regular basis, is frozen veg is just as good as fresh veg. So, and quite often you can buy it in bulk and freeze it, and well, and just stick it in your freezer, and you only need to use what you're going to use. So it doesn't go off if you're not going to use a lot of it. And if you're batch cooking that Charlie mentioned, making things like chilies and stuff like that and stews, then frozen veg is brilliant because you just chuck it all in. You don't even have to chop it. It's all been done for you. Um, and then the big tip, make a list before you go shopping. It's such a simple thing because then basically, you know what you need, you know what you're planning for, but stick to it when you get in the supermarket. Um,
I just
I'd
added
say,
another tip in there.
oh yeah.
I learned today at the generative AI session we had, and the ambassador gave a good tip that if you have a few different things left over, for example, Madge, you got that Too Good to Go food and you don't know what to make with it, you can just put all of those things into an AI like ChatGPT, and then it'll give you some recipes that you can make as well.
That's a really good tip, actually. Yeah, I might have to start using that with what I've got left over. Yeah, that's perfect. So yeah, if you got to that stage where you're like, I've got some what feels like random things left, do have a look. I do a lot of my shopping online and get it delivered. And so if you are the kind of person that is more likely to pick up random stuff in the supermarket because you've just walked past it, a good way of budgeting, because it's the other thing, because you can see what you've spent, is to actually do your shopping online and look for the cheapest delivery slot. Because sometimes for Morrison's, it can go down as low as sort of like £1.50 for delivery. It's cheaper than the bus. So yeah, have a look and just see what you might be able to get delivered, because it really helps you budget and have a look so you can see exactly what you're paying as you sort of like doing your shop.
And you can do that with your flatmates as well, couldn't you? Like you
Oh
get
yeah,
them on delivery.
yeah, buy and share as well if you're buying a lot of stuff, because you can get those discounts. So hopefully you get on with your flatmates and you get that kind of relationship that you can say, yeah, let's do this, let's try it. What app do you recommend? Personally, I'll go for Morrison's, but that's just because that's the one I use. But I have used Asda quite often as well. You might want to try a couple and compare the prices, because it might be for what you have is cheaper at one supermarket compared to another. So it might be a little bit trial and error, but Asda and Morrison's are the two that I would personally recommend. But there we go. There's other supermarkets are out there. bank accounts. So student bank accounts, I think, are a very useful and important thing. So one of the things which is most important is that you will not get taxed on your student bank account, and quite often they will give you, they won't charge you fees and give you sort of free overdrafts and things like that. But shop around. How did you find this part of it, Charlie? You can see you nodding at the beginning. It's like, oh yes.
This wasn't actually too hard for me. I stuck with my original bank. They gave me £100 for free, so that was all I really needed. But yeah, do shop around because there's something for everyone. So I think some places offer you a free rail card, others offer you a food discount card. So if you're someone who likes traveling around or eating out a lot, that might be more better for you. But if you're somebody who wants that extra money, then maybe a £300 would be more for you. So yeah, really do see what's around, and also interest rates as well. They might not be brilliant at the moment, but there are differences between the different providers, which is useful to have a look at as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I don't think I was incredibly money wise when I first went to university, and I got offered that a lovely big overdraft with 0% on it, and I took it. And I spent up to it. I had a lovely time. I bought a bass guitar in my first year because I was having a great time. And then I spent the next sort of 20 years, that's me showing my age, trying to get out of that. So just think it might feel really good and you think, oh, brilliant. If you need it, you need it. That is fine. But just think about sort of like how you might then pay that off later. So it might feel great that you're going to get sort of like all of this and it feels like it's for free at the time. It might not be. So yeah, know your repayment conditions as well. So when you graduate, is it that the bank's just suddenly going to turn around and say, we want that back if you've got an overdraft, or are they going to give you sort of quite a nice deal on getting out of it? So having an overdraft for emergencies, absolutely brilliant. Doing what I did, don't do that. Would not recommend. You will be credit checked as well. So if you don't have much of a credit rating, I mean, I could do a whole sort of hour or 2 hours around credit ratings and things like that, because I actually used to work in banking, but I won't. But credit checks mean that you will get, basically they'll have a look and see how you repay your any debt you've got at the moment. If you don't have any that you're not paying off, they're not going to give you a very big overdraft. And that's not to say you should get into that, but it is just more of those, you know, they might offer you, say you can have up to a certain amount, but they might not offer all of that straight away. So the link is in the chat for the blog. So that is a really good place to have a look and do some comparisons. I would say Martin's Money Tips is also a good place to have a look at, just to get an idea of what's going on. So Martin Lewis, if you're not familiar with him, he does lots of sign up for his emails. He does lots of emails on discounts and things like that, which is really useful. So yeah, it can be a bit of a minefield, bank accounts. But we do recommend getting one because there are benefits to that, but just be careful about using some of those benefits straight away and then thinking, oh wait, I'm stuck. And then if you are living at home, so if you're in a shared house, which isn't run by the university or a private company specifically for student housing, and you have to pay, or you think you might have to pay council tax, then you will get you might be eligible for a discount. If you live on your own, you don't pay council tax at all as a full-time student, but if you share a house, you might get, if there's only one other person in there, you might get I think you only have to pay 80% of your council tax. So that does depend on what area you're living in, but it is really good to double check and just make sure that you're getting that as well, because every penny helps, basically. And if you've got to sort out your own broadband, shop around and have a look for the student discount again, and keep sort of waving that card, almost waving the virtual card at websites and saying, what about a student discount? Because you might be able to get a discount on that too. Have you had to encounter any of this yet, Charlie?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, I think the council tax one, if you're an older student or you've got your own house already, it's one really good to know, and a lot of people don't realise that. I think my other thing on that is prescriptions. If you're unwell and you have to get a prescription, basically they're free if you're a full-time student. So when you're at home as well, so this might not apply to all of you, but if you're in a shared house where you've got to pay the bills separately, then I would recommend a smart meter if that's not already in the house. You might not have control over that depending on who your landlord is, basically. But if you are paying your bills, speed up your sound sizes or speed up your showers, wash quicker. But washing clothes, sharing washing loads is quite useful. And to be honest, that's a useful one. If you've got someone you're happy doing that with, and then you only have to pay for one load between the two of you rather than two, then that is more ecological and also saves you a bit of money. And so at the moment, if you're living in university managed accommodation, and in some tenancies, the bills are included in your rent, so you don't need to worry about it. But when you're looking around, if you're looking for somewhere to live at any point, it's something that catches people out. I think they think, oh, well, my rent is this much. And then they don't think, oh, actually, I'm going to have to pay some sort of gas, electricity, or water bills on top of that. So just be aware of it. Having it all included is better for you. If you can get that, go for it. Save paying bills until you're graduated. That's my big tip. And then we're coming to sort of the end. This is some of the support that we have from the university. So Black Bullion is a website. It's an external website, but we recommend it to a lot of students. It's a whole bunch of resources. You don't need to be sort of at the stage of worrying about your finances to use it, because it's got lots of tips and it's got lots of offers and things like that. So you can get advice right at the beginning. So I'd say get in there early, have a chat with somebody on Black Bullion if you're sort of thinking, oh, what's the best option for this? Should I try and put some money in savings, or should I do this? They're going to basically be able to help you out with that, and get sort of really good up-to-date advice, and help you just get ideas on how to save money, and find those good offers, basically. Have you used this at all, Charlie?
Not yet, but I'm
Not yet.
persuaded to use it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think, oh, surely I've got to be sort of struggling before I can use the Black Bullion website. But I'd say get in there early, and have a look. And then you might not be at that stage where you're thinking, oh, I need to do something about this. And the same thing, we have a cost of living hub on our website. So all the links, or a lot of the links that we've used today, a lot of every on there, it's got helps, it's got tips, it's got who to speak to. Leicester is a relatively cheap place to live in, which is nice. It's always good to know. We are definitely cheaper than London, but there are lots and lots of little things that you can do, which will just make life a little bit easier, and you can still enjoy yourself. So I think that's one of the key things on there. And there we go. We have come to the end. While you are thinking of questions for myself and Charlie, while you're typing those in the chat, just quickly, tomorrow we have got, no, not tomorrow, tomorrow's Saturday. We're not doing anything over the weekend. Monday, we have got a session on sports. I know a few people have asked about the sports centre and things like that. So we've got a session on sports from 4 till 5. Then Tuesday, there are 3 sessions all at the same time, but don't worry. There will only be one that you will be sort of, I say, eligible for, that you will need to go to. So we've got Succeeding with Your PhD, Succeeding with Your Master's Degree, and our Student Ambassador Scheme. So our Student Ambassador Scheme is only open to undergraduate students, which means that if you are interested in that, you won't be missing out on the other parts, basically. And you should know where the website is, because you've got onto this session. So hopefully have a look at that and see what else is coming up.